Hello, my beautiful friend, and welcome back to the Whole Soul Podcast. I am genuinely so excited to dive into today's episode because the topic and the knowledge and the wisdom of cycle syncing, hormonal health, living attuned to my womb, living attuned to your womb, is something that will completely and utterly change your life for the better. And I'm so excited to dive into why exactly that is today. In this episode, I wrote down a bunch of notes through a stream of consciousness for just kind of like the outline of what I want to go through today. So, welcome to today's episode. This is a guide for highly sensitive women to cycle syncing. How to even start? What does it even mean? So, let's start with the background, okay? Growing up as a tween or a teen in the US, you most likely had a health class where you learned that at one point in your life, you are going to have a period. You are going to bleed. But really, beyond that, there was no education or further information on what that means, what to even do with this. There was more so just this connotation of, yeah, you are going to grow up, you are going to have your period, and they kind of just send you off with that. But wow, there is a whole depth of knowledge and wisdom that we are not taught about our bodies, especially as women in school and growing up. And I'm one of those women. I didn't learn until I was about 20 years old through my own research because of health problems that I was experiencing at the time. And these aren't things that even my mother or my grandmother would teach me or tell me about because they weren't connected to their cycle or their womb in a way that has them feeling connected, in a way that I'm connected to my womb and my cycle right now and what that has given me. And for a little bit of context, when I first learned about what it means to live attuned to my cycle and just learning the depth of knowledge in my nutrition school that I went through when I was 20, I cried, like sobbed and cried so much learning about all of these brilliant, magnificent, wonderful things that your body goes through, that your body transforms through your cycle as a woman. And it hit me really hard because I realized how disconnected my lineage of women are in my family. And it was this awakening moment of, wow, well, nobody did it in my family until this point. Nobody knew, but I'm the one to be learning this information, to be integrating it, to be honoring my cycle as a cyclical being. Because as a woman, you are not meant to work like a man. It's just simply biologically not in alignment. It's not possible. And here's why. Women, we have two rhythms, while men have one. What is it? So, the one that we share, both men and women, is the circadian rhythm. It's the sun clock. It's the 24-hour clock. So, we wake up, we go through our day, we go to sleep. That is our circadian rhythm. And we share that as males and females. But what we have as women that we don't share with men is the infradian rhythm. This is the moon clock. It's technically a 28-day cycle. It's aligned with the moon because the moon has a 28-day cycle. And this varies for different women, right? Not everybody's bleed is 28 days. Mine, for example, sometimes goes 29 to 30 days. I know some women that have like a 35-day cycle. So it all depends. But either way, we have this internal rhythm where we just have a cyclical nature. This internal rhythm, we have 4 phases in it. And you can kind of think of it, not even kind of, you can think of it as nature. This rhythm, this infradian rhythm, this moon clock emulates nature so perfectly because it goes through 4 seasons that show up as your menstrual phase, as your follicular phase, your ovulation, and your luteal phase. And we'll dive deeper into what all of this means, what all of these words mean if you don't know. But these phases within your menstrual cycle reflect the cycles of seasons. So winter, spring, summer, and fall, which is a beautiful thing because once we become attuned to this as women and we see our cycle as this and we honor ourselves as these cyclical beings, we begin to live in harmony with our biology, with our cycle, with the seasons where we feel more on and energized and creative. And we also honor the seasons where we don't have as much energy, where we feel more inwards and reflective. We don't have as much social capacity during those phases. And instead of pushing yourself to a point of burnout or working against your cycle, the key in cycle syncing is learning how to work with your biological internal rhythms rather than subscribing. Sorry, my surfboard is making that noises. But yeah, we're not meant to work as men, is the headline. We're not meant to work just on the circadian rhythm and actually attuning to your infradian rhythm, your cyclical wisdom of your womb and your body and your biology helps you just become a more thriving, abundant, and tapped in intuitive woman, which is interesting because a lot of us have this mindset that the more we do, the faster we do it, the faster we'll get ahead in life. And first of all, let's touch on this. This is some really bad, shitty programming that we have been conditioned to believe that more is better. So many different stories around this, and I'm sure when I say this, something will come up for you specifically. But the truth is that when you actually attune to your cycle and work with the seasons rather than against them, you become more productive. You become more energized. You become happier and healthier because you are in tune with your moon and your seasons, to make it simple. So I also want to share that just as your blood pressure, your breathing rate, your pulse, and your temperature are vital signs of your health, your menstrual cycle is your 5th vital sign. This is important, like really important, because it shows you that as a woman, it's a beautiful thing to be a woman, truly. It's something that I did not love for a long time. Not even love, I just didn't see how mystical, magical it is to be a woman. And now I'm like, wow, I love being a woman because we are so mystical and magical and powerful beings when we attune to our moon and our cycle. But this 5th vital sign, that is our menstrual cycle, is a really important pillar of our health. So if you're having menstrual problems, period problems, intense PMS, really intense cramps, or something's off with your hormones, your health is not going to be fully 100%. You're not going to feel your best. So to have optimal health and fertility and energy and vitality, it is crucial to be in tune with your cycle and to know how to work with it, to know how to nourish yourself, how to really approach each season, each phase, and how to move, like physically move through each phase, because they all have different gifts and qualities. One is not better than the other. They just give us different opportunities to tap into different things that are all very, very, very important. So I want to touch on this seasonal perspective of life and how because we are cyclical in nature, we are connected to nature. And I already explained this a little bit of the seasons and how the external seasons of nature actually are a reflection of our internal seasons of nature. And this is powerful because we're just so connected to nature, to God, to the earth. And to ever for a second believe that you are separate or disconnected is actually a little bit crazy. And I get it because I've been there. I had no idea that I was connected to nature. I didn't have this awareness. But the more I've dove deep into my health, into my spirit and connection to my soul, to the connection to the earth, I'm seeing how interconnected all of it is. And to be disconnected from it is unnatural, yet that's what our system, our schooling, our conditioning teaches us to be, disconnected. So this is a guide to really come back to your innate intelligence, your intelligent biology, and to know and feel what it's like to be connected in your body, to nature, to your cycle, to your femininity and your magnetism as a woman. So let's break down the 4 different phases of your cycle. Technically, the first one is your follicular, but because of gynecological processes, the menstrual phase is number 1 because technically they mark it as the first day you bleed is the first day of your cycle. So we will start there. Your menstrual phase, which is the first day, it begins the first day you start bleeding, is the start of your inner winter. So, think of winter. It's cold. It's usually dark. There's not as much sunlight. You feel this cozy energy. You just want to be more introverted and to yourself. Your menstrual phase is exactly this. This is days, usually 1 through 5 of your cycle. Your energy is at its lowest point. Your hormones are literally down here. Everything is kind of just at its lowest point, which is a beautiful thing because throughout your other phases, your hormones are at different levels, but there is a gift in your menstrual phase because you have this opportunity to tune into yourself, into your intuition, to recover, to give yourself the space and the opportunity to rest because that is what your body is asking for. And just as in winter you feel like you just need these cozy, warming foods, that is actually what's best for your body. So you can think of soups and stews, hearty, like root vegetables that are like steamed in the soup. Red meat is really good because you're losing a lot of blood as you're bleeding, so you're losing iron. So you're needing to replenish on this iron through, for example, steak and leafy greens or spinach. Broths, a lot of minerals are so good for you. So yeah, just think of cozy foods, really hearty. You can even think of it through like an Ayurvedic and holistic lens of food. So through cycle syncing, we're not eating processed garbage food. This is a holistic perspective of life. So think of whole foods that are supportive of your health, of your body, that come from the earth. During your menstrual phase, you are not wanting to work hard in your workouts. So think of more yin yoga, going on short walks, giving your body nice and deep stretches and breathing exercises. Breath work is so helpful, especially on day 1 of your bleed. If you're experiencing cramping, connecting to your breath helps you connect back to your body and to tune in to what's actually going on in your womb space. And your menstrual cycle, or your menstrual phase too, is a beautiful opportunity to connect to your womb. It's essentially a report card of how you treated your body, how you nourished your body, how you moved your body throughout the previous month. Your menstrual phase and like how you bleed, how you feel during it, is an indicator of how well you took care of yourself in the previous phases since the last cycle leading up to it. So, again, lowest energy, meaning that you want to be very gentle with your movements and really give yourself the most nourishing, hearty, healthy meals. Best time to eat red meat if you eat meat. And stews, warm stews, lots of minerals, replenishment. So give yourself the space to relax, like really relax and rejuvenate and replenish during your menstrual phase. After the menstrual phase, your hormones start to build back up, which leads us into the follicular phase. So this is usually days 6 through 14. Your follicular phase emulates spring. So like I said, your hormones are coming back online. Your energy is starting to come back. You're starting to feel more creative. So this is a beautiful time to start new projects, to plan out your month or your cycle for the month, because you're not in a planning phase during your luteal phase or your menstrual phase. Your energy is coming back online. You want to eat nourishing foods that are more so cooling. This is the best time to steam and saute vegetables. Make sure you get plenty of protein, so you can eat chicken or fish or eggs or even ground beef. Red meat is great too, but also focus on fermented foods. So kimchi is amazing, or sauerkraut, pickled vegetables, lots of fruits and vegetables that have a lot of fiber. These are really supportive things for you during your follicular phase. And as for movement, you want to be doing strength training. You want to start partaking in HIIT workouts or more cardio-based things. Start allowing yourself to build your strength because you have this new burst of rising hormones and energy. This is what's really supportive during your follicular phase. So something also that's really helpful is to put your mind to learn new skills, to learn new things. You're probably feeling more social during this phase, so surround yourself with people and community that make you feel good, that inspire you. This is important. So, follicular phase is your inner spring. And do you see how it really starts to correlate and emulate with the seasons now? So, now we're going to ovulation. This is like mid-cycle. So, you're on day 15 to 20. It's a very short window. This is your peak hormones. So, you're feeling the most outwards, the most sensual. You have the most sexual energy during this time because this is the window where you can get pregnant. So it makes sense that your biology would make you the most turned on, the most outward, the most social during this phase because your energy and your focus is literally at the peak. And it lasts for a day or two. And again, this is a window where you can get pregnant. So if you're not on birth control, which I hope you're not, I can get into this whole topic on another episode, which I will be happy to. But if you're not on birth control, I'm not on birth control. I actually use this biological rhythm and I attune to my cycle to know when I have my red days, when I do not partake. Well, that's not actually fully true, but I'm really mindful of when I partake in intimacy. So if you're having sex, make sure to use condoms, especially during the time of ovulation, because your body is preparing to have a child. And those are the perfect conditions during your ovulation to plant the seed and grow a child. So natural contraception is abstinence, but sometimes you're just feeling good and sexy and turned on, and why are you going to block yourself from enjoying that with your partner or the person that you are intimate with. Anyways, that's another topic. But during ovulation, you are eating more so cooling foods. Think of it. In the summer, you just feel like you want to be refreshed. So, same thing during ovulation. It's your inner summer. You're eating more cooling, refreshing foods. So, you can think of salads, juices, cold fruit. Eat more cruciferous veggies. So, like broccoli, cauliflower. More high fiber foods, which helps move your hormones and do a lot of good things for your body that I will not get into because I'm not very well attuned to the sciencey words. I just understand the energetics of the body and the food, so I'm going to be speaking to that. Ovulation is also a good time to eat raw foods. And because this is your inner summer, for the movement aspect of this, you are peak energy. So do your highest points of cardio that you can if you do cardio. It's good for your heart, so I hope you're doing it. Amazing time to really just do your peak exercises of strength training, dance, connect to your sensuality, your access point to your feminine energy and your magnetism. Go to a dance class or just dance in your living room, in your bedroom. Turn on the candles, like the little tea lights. Put on like your sexiest music and your cutest, sexiest outfit. Just make yourself feel good and like the goddess you are, because you are. You just have to make yourself feel like it and create the conditions for the goddess to thrive. So, yeah. In terms of other energetic things, this is the best time to put yourself out there in social settings, to outreach, new opportunities, to collaborate, to host. Peak energy is your ovulation, your inner summer. And again, it's like 1 to 2 days. It's a window. And then after your ovulation, this is the peak, your hormones start to go down slowly, and you enter your luteal phase. Your luteal phase is your longest phase of the cycle. It's usually days 20 to 28. And it all depends, again, based on your unique cycle that you go through. But your luteal emulates your inner fall. It's your autumn. So energy is going down. You can think of the leaves falling off the trees. Beautiful metaphor. But yeah, your energy is decreasing. So in terms of food, you're wanting to nourish your body with warming foods. So you can think of roasting and baking. Sweet potatoes are amazing. Dates are amazing. Dark chocolate is amazing. Soups are so good. Nourishing yourself with protein and complex carbohydrates, so important during this phase. Just think of it as fall cozy vibes around like October, November. This is your luteal phase. And just as your energy is starting to go down, also your movement is going to reflect that as well. So do more low impact exercises. So you can think of yoga, Pilates, sculpting. Go on long walks. Your energy is starting to feel more inwards, more reflective. So take your time to reflect on what this last cycle has given you. What have you learned? What have you done? Also, the beginning of your luteal phase, the first few days, is an amazing time to complete any to-do lists or do any last things before you really hit the second part of your luteal phase, where you are just feeling so exhausted and tired and just lower energy overall. It's also a good time to do simple tasks, to journal and reflect. Like I said, moderate impact movement. And I want to say too that your energy, when it's dropping like this, due to your hormonal fluctuations going down, the veil, like your psychic energetic veil, is the most thin during this time, making you more sensitive to your environment, to energies around you. The veil becomes thinner So you are more attuned to maybe the things that you've been avoiding or the things that don't feel good or comfortable in your life. And not like the good uncomfortable, but like what you cannot stand anymore. Those things will all come up for you, which is why sometimes women struggle in the luteal phase, because there's just more emotion coming up. And it's a beautiful thing. It's not something you want to push away or avoid or hide. It is something for you to tune into and feel and just have an awareness of what's going on and give yourself the space to process on a deep somatic body level. So I want to say too, like, this might sound like, oh, doom and gloom. When you're in your luteal phase and your bleed, it's like less than, or it's worse than your follicular and your ovulation. But every single phase has a gift, truly. And just because your energy is decreasing in luteal, the gift in it is that you are so much more attuned to your emotions and your body and what you actually need to give yourself. So it's a beautiful time to journal and reflect and complete simple tasks. The gift in your menstrual cycle or your menstrual phase is that you get to rest deeper and rejuvenate and nourish yourself. In your follicular phase, the gift is that your energy is rising. You are feeling creativity, like, oh my God, I'm rebirthing from this, maybe what felt like an eternal void of your luteal phase and just being lower energy in your menstrual phase. You're feeling more social and open to connect. Whereas your ovulation, you're in your sexy time. You are like fully soaking up the beauty and the creativity and the energy that you have cultivated throughout your cycle. And it only lasts for 2 days, so like really soak that up. There's a gift, truly, in every single phase that you go to. And when you can start not just knowing this information, but like living it and embodying it, you will start to feel so much more embodied and in tune with your natural fluctuations of your hormones, which impact your energy. I promise, especially like coming from an entrepreneur, a creative being, really leaning into this has helped me become so much more easy on myself, because as someone that's very hard on herself and has felt for her whole life and has been programmed that doing more is better, and connecting my worth to that has been a huge thing too. It's been so healing to just understand my body and my biology and attune to my moon and like understand that working against my cycle is actually harming me in the long term. Because if you are not honoring your cycle, your hormones start to get out of whack. And when your hormones are out of whack, it leads to a plethora of different illnesses, of chronic diseases, things that you do not want to experience in this life. So your health and your vitality are literally dependent on how well you can live attuned to your cycle and like trust your body and trust your internal signals, because they are there. But more times than not, women, we are conditioned and taught to disconnect from these signals. And we're conditioned to be a certain way, so we just run on these conditionings and programmings of what we think we have to do and be, which leads us down this path of burnout and unfulfillment, disease and sickness, and all of the things we don't want to experience in this life. And unfortunately, usually when the chronic illnesses or diseases hit, it's too late. It's actually never too late, but you're like, holy shit. Because these diseases and illnesses don't just form overnight. It takes time. And it also takes time to heal and reverse the damage that has been done. And I don't say this to like burst fear into your being, but rather to like make this a wake-up call. And a beautiful act of self-love to start to learn about your body and your cycle and listen to your body, because your body knows. Like, your body is so much more intelligent than your mind can even comprehend. And when you can start to live in tune with your body and listen to its signals, you will be so much better off, like with happiness, with your health. your hormones will be balanced. Your life will be better. You will be able to nurture your relationships better. You'll be able to nurture yourself better, and also to be a leader and guide for the women in your life that are struggling. Because in a lot of ways, we are struggling worlds. We live in such a state of disconnection and disharmony because at the core, we live in a disharmony with ourselves and with our body. So the most powerful change and impact that you can make is by starting with yourself, doing the work within yourself, to connect to your body, to connect to your humanity, to realize that you are a part of nature and that you're not separate from it. And to see the gift in every single phase and know that every single phase guides you home closer to the truth and the depth within yourself, your true nature. So, just as a review, your follicular phase is reflecting your inner spring. Your ovulation is reflecting your inner summer. Your luteal phase reflects your inner autumn or your fall. And your menstrual phase, when you bleed, reflects your winter. That is the simplest breakdown I can give you. And just one last thing, when you're bleeding, you want to nourish your body because you're losing blood, you're losing iron, you're losing minerals. So warmth, think of soups, think of minerals. Your follicular and your ovulation are more so like the cooling phases of food that you're eating because your energy and your hormones are starting to rise. And then your luteal phase, again, you're wanting to eat warming, nourishing foods because your hormones are starting to drop. I hope this all made sense to you. I hope this inspires you to be more healthy, to really connect to your body, to really inquire within yourself deeper of, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? Why are my symptoms bad? Or why am I feeling good? And again, symptoms aren't bad. They're just directing you to the core of what's going on, which is your health and your lifestyle choices and your habits. So the body's intelligent, and if you don't listen to your symptoms, they will begin to scream at some point, and we don't want that to happen. So your body is this intelligent, beautiful system, and as a highly sensitive woman, especially, your life force depends on this. So I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to comment on this episode if you found value in it. I would love to know what stuck out most to you. It would also be so lovely if you could rate the podcast on Spotify so we could just broadcast this out to more women around the world who need to know this information but just maybe don't know where to find it or don't even have it in their awareness. And if you are interested on going deeper into this work or just mastering your energy and your health as a highly sensitive woman, I'm offering one-on-one guidance, mentorship, and coaching. And I'm working on a few really cool things right now, including a free community for highly sensitive women with monthly seasonal challenges, as well as a course to help you master your energy, build unshakable self-confidence and magnetism and health, because you are done living in a cycle of self-doubt and low self-worth, and you know you are ready to live a life of greater purpose and impact, fulfillment, and health. So many exciting things are happening in my world that I'm so excited to bring forth and share with you guys and just make a deeper impact and wave of change in this world. So follow me on Instagram to stay tuned on all these updates, and I will see you next week. I love you.